Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Monday, the 16th of February. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd get back into the grind and looking at other revenue streams that you could have if you want to get into it, and that is used parts. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Monday, the 16th of February of 2026. For you lucky fools that work for the state, you probably got it off. For us blocks that we work for a living, no, we've got 2 pickups this morning and plenty of work in the shop to keep us busy. 1 drop off. So we're hammering it away, right? So when I say the used parts market, there is still revenue stream on eBay for the right stuff. And what I have found in the last year is like the Kawasaki stuff. You have to be able to, here's the clincher. If you're going to sell electrical stuff, you have to be able to test it and warranty it. And you have to be really careful and you have to be a smart salesperson, because what will end up happening if you are lazy and you don't pay attention is somebody will buy it off from you on eBay, and then when they get it, they'll send you back their old one that doesn't work. So we mark our stuff. So I know if it's ours or not ours, and I will confront a buyer. Because I'll be honest with you, eBay has changed a lot. You know, there's a lot of scams going on out there. And a lot of buyers have figured out, especially with Chinese sellers, that if they question them or push them a little bit, the Chinese sellers will fold and they don't want it back. I'm not that way. Be honest with you, I'd rather take a loss than have somebody put one over on me. If there's going to be a reputation out there, especially my own, it's going to be from being outright honest and trustworthy. And if you play games with me, I will come back at you. And you have to be that savvy when it comes to eBay, or you will not make it. You will end up in the red. The other thing that I see a lot of eBay sellers and Amazon sellers forget to do or don't do enough research is by the time you figure the commission the eBay and Amazon take, the selling fees, the shipping, because shipping has gone crazy. I can remember for anything under 16 ounces, it was a couple bucks. Now, for something under 4 ounces, it's around 4 to 5. So if you're still trying to peddle stuff at the same prices, you're going backwards. And I did that the other day. I wasn't paying much attention. But I sell rope, to customers in the 6-foot lengths. So they don't have to buy a whole roll. They can just get a 6-foot length. And by the time they took out the commissions, everything else, I had made 18 cents. You have to stay on top of that, guys. Everything has gone up. Shipping has gone up. The fees have gone up. And you have to adjust accordingly. And, yes, it's better that I didn't get nothing out of it. I got 18 cents, but 18 cents didn't even come close to covering that 6-foot rope. So you also have to know the markets, and you have to know, is it worth trying to sell it there or not? Because a lot of times the Chinese sellers or even Temu will sell like 6 of them for $6, free shipping with handles. And I'm like, I can't do that. But I can go to Temu, I can buy the 6 for $6 and turn around and sell them for 12 to 15 bucks a piece through eBay. What I try to do and what I try to concentrate on are the higher value sales. And what am I talking about like that? I would rather sell 2 things and make $100 than sell 100 things and make $100. So when you're thinking about doing eBay or Amazon, especially eBay for the used parts market, Amazon doesn't like the used stuff too much, but eBay does. And we've had really good luck with like the electronic ignition on the Kawasaki's, the coils on the Kawasaki's. I mean, we had one Kawasaki that it blew up. The connecting rod broke and the customer didn't want nothing to do with it. So we ended up stripping it down, and I don't clean anything, okay? And why don't I clean anything? It's because I want to show the customer it's a fresh pull. It's not all cleaned up and scrubbed and everything else. You're buying it as you would see it off from that actual engine. And I'll tell you what's the matter with the engine that it's coming off from. You can test coils with ohms. You can test certain electrical equipment, looking up the specs on it. The heads are good, that you can pop off. That have the valves already in it. Because people warp heads, all the time. Everything right down to the key switch and the wire harness all have value. But again, you have to be savvy in the sense, okay, so it all depends upon how much you're into on the engine. Stripping isn't always the best way to do things. But if you have $50 on an engine, or in our case, it was given to us, everything was profit. So everything I took time to take off and take photos, I was checking to see what it was going for, what it had sold for, not what somebody's trying to get out of it, but what stuff actually sold. And if you go up and you punch into the eBay search and then click on the advanced, it sits right here to the right of it. Click on the advanced and you'll scroll down and checkbox the one that says completed sales. That means ones that have actually sold. I don't care what people are asking for something, because you can ask what you want, but the market will dictate what that part is worth. So by doing the completed sales, I can see when the last one was sold and how much it went for. A lot of times buyers will make offers to the seller that's under what they're asking, and they'll take that. I do that a lot. If it's pretty close, yeah, it depends on how much money I got into it. But by doing that, it gives me a better idea of what that unit is selling for on eBay in the past month or the past year. If you find that it's something that sold for $4, reconsider it, because just the shipping alone is going to eat that up. Fees are going to eat that up. With us, we have 2 stores. I'm looking at downsizing to 1, because we really don't need 2. But I have one for farm parts and I have the other for the small engine. When you have those accounts, it costs you extra money to have the stores. And it's a monthly fee. So the store that you set up, depending upon how many items you have, I think the basic is like 150 or 200 items. At one time we were running 25, 30,000 on each account. And that's the difference between then and now, right? I still utilize that and still bring in some extra money here and there based on that. The stuff that I stay away from are the large bulky items. Used to be, you could get a pretty decent deal, selling John Deere hoods that weren't broke. But now, just to ship those things is stupid money. I can remember one guy I bought a John Deere hood off from, and he actually sent it up our way by Greyhound bus, and we met it at the bus station and took it off the bus. And he paid to have that taken up to us. So, I mean, if you have other ways of shipping and stuff, but through the regular channels like, USPS, it's oversized. FedEx and UPS would consider it, but you'd have to somehow protect it from getting thrown around, banged, and everything else. So by the time you build a box that's solid enough to keep it out of harm's way, you probably got more time and money in it than it's worth. So what do you guys do when it comes to, the used parts market? The other option too is, and we do that as well, we talk to customers, is offer our customer a good used part over a brand new one. It's all OEM. Even carburetors. If we have an engine that blew a connecting rod or seized up or what have you, the carburetor is still good on it. The heads are still good on it. There's still a lot of good parts on it that you can pull off and recycle through your shop. The other thing you can do is if you're taking and you're selling used equipment, and that is checking your boneyard. Maybe it might take 2 to make one good one, but if the shop is slow, that's where it's good to slide them in, get them done, and get them ready to sell in the spring. Lawnmowers. We do that a lot. If things are slow, but right now our boneyard is pretty picked clean because we've had the scrapper come in and get rid of all the other stuff. The other thing I do when it comes to engines is if they're junk engines, while I'm dismantling them, I have a box. This setup, it's all metric. Because if you go anywhere to buy a metric bolt, if you've tried it, Track Supply, they don't sell it by the pound. They sell it by the bolt. And it's in a sealed bag, and it's like $3 to $5. So when you're tearing an engine apart, I'm saving all that hardware and the bolts, nuts, what have you, and putting it into this case. And you'd be surprised at how often we reach and take stuff out of there because we dropped a bolt and we can't find it, or it came in and there wasn't the hardware there, and we need to find hardware to put it back together. So that's been a godsend as far as when I get free time on my hands. I'll start grabbing engines and doing teardowns. And I'm not doing teardowns for the parts. I'm doing teardowns for the nuts and bolts. Because we go through a lot of them. And I would say it's probably into the thousands of dollars at the end of the year that we're saving by doing this. So, I'm not doing it just give me something to do. I'm doing it because it is a moneymaker for us that we don't have to spend. So in the comments, what are other ways that you can get income from stuff that's just laying around by you? Fuel tanks, we save all the fuel tanks. We set them up, tag them what they come off from. We just sold a fuel tank to a guy with a generator. He had a metal one. It was all rusted in bad shape. We had a plastic one that was set on. We went ahead and did him up. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it completed the job and we got a few extra bucks for used parts. But no, if you're pulling good used coils and good used carburetors, good used off of engines that are, what the known issue is, then and tagging them. Is as important, is tagging what they came off from. And I have shelves of just used parts that they're not online, that I have set up with tags so that I know that if that engine comes in, I've got this, this, and this. I'm not going to store a lot of stuff in the shop because it takes up a lot of real estate, okay? So to dismantle everything and then try to salvage everything, it's not doable. The bigger location that you have, the more land that you have, the better off you are. I mean, I got 2.5 acres, and at one point it was just stacked with stuff. And that's when it's time to clean house. But I'm curious in the comments what you guys are doing for extra revenue that is sitting in front of you that if you churned and burned it, it would put money back in the coffers. And I mean, just like the nuts and bolts, you don't look at it as a money in the bank because you have it there. But if you look at it, if I had to spend money every time I needed a nut or a bolt in the metric and it come off that engine that was basically free, you're making money. So on that note, you guys have a great Monday. It's going to be, like I say, we've got 2 pickups, 1 drop off. The shop has got plenty of work. We've got that 18,000 watt that needs the valves adjusted on it. That Aaron snowblower is going back today. We've got a cub to pick up this morning. We've got another cub to pick up. So we're staying fairly busy. Plus we have one tractor in the shop that is, the rear axle's tore right down on it right now. So we got to re-silicone that, find bolts to fit that. And then we got to get tires fixed. And we got it running. We've got a cub, Farmall cub, that was seized right up, that Claude's got pretty well ready to start putting that back together for a regular customer of ours. We've got an international outside that we need to get inside, get that buttoned up. And then we have my 2240 outside that we've got the radiator, but we've got to put everything all back in place, put a new radiator in it. Then we got the John Deere 820 that we're still working on the hydraulics. Plus we have more stuff coming in. Again, thanks for supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. On that note, enjoy your Monday.